6 games. That's what a 4-time Grand Slam champion had to show for 76 minutes on a hard court on Saturday night. 6. Not 6 games lost, 6 games total, the entire match. Naomi Osaka, former world number 1, every one of her 4 majors won on exactly this surface. Walked off Rock Creek Park having been dismantled by a 21-year-old who was ranked 143rd in the world 2 years ago. Not top 100. Not close. 143rd. Her name is Alex Eala, and the flag waving through that sold-out stadium, 3 stars and a sun, the flag of the Philippines, belongs to a country that has never, in its entire history, produced a top-level tennis player. Not one. Osaka herself said afterward that she didn't know a tennis crowd could sound like that it felt less like a tennis match and more like a basketball game. So here's the question worth sitting with, because it's the reason this story matters at all. How does a player from a country with zero tennis infrastructure, no blueprint, no one who has ever done this before her, end up taking apart a major champion in under an hour and a half? Because I need you to understand something first. Every headline this week is calling this an upset. It wasn't. Trace back what actually happened over the last 8 weeks, and you find something stranger than a hot night from a talented kid. You find a plan, built quietly, match by match, with 2 nights buried in the middle of it that came close to breaking her. But to see the plan, you have to go back further than Washington. Start with a single number. Right now, across the entire WTA Tour, there is exactly 1 player from the Philippines with a singles ranking. 1. Out of a country of more than 120 million people. Alex Eala isn't the best Filipina tennis player alive. She's the only one, which means there was no former champion to call for advice, no national system feeding her up through the ranks, no one who had already made the mistakes so she could skip them. The Philippines is a basketball country, a boxing country. Manny Pacquiao is the national sports template, and he came out of a completely different world. So as a young teenager, Eala got on a plane and moved to Europe to train, alone, in a country where she didn't speak the language on day 1. That's not a charming detail in a highlight package. That's a 13-year-old trading her entire childhood for odds most sports psychologists would tell you not to take. For years, it didn't look like it was paying off. In 2023, she was still playing Grand Slam qualifying for the first time. The tournament before the tournament. In 2024, she won a smaller title in Spain and climbed to a career-high ranking of 143. That's a real accomplishment. It puts you among the best few hundred players on Earth. It's also exactly where careers quietly end. Ranked between 100 and 200 is the loneliest stretch in professional tennis. Too good for the small events to be a threat, not good enough to get into the big ones. Flying yourself to secondary tournaments in cities nobody covers. Paying your own coach out of prize money that barely clears the flight. Most players who reach that number never move past it. And Eala was carrying something extra the others weren't. When you're the only one, you don't lose in private. There's no second Filipina on tour to spread the weight across. It all lands on 120-year-old. Then came Miami, March of last year. She got in on a wild card, a sponsor favor, tennis's side door. Over the next week she beat Madison Keys, the world number 5 and a Grand Slam champion. Then beat Iga Swiatek, the world number 2. Back-to-back top 10 wins as a wild card. First Filipino ever into a WTA 1000 semi-final. First into the world's top 100. In 7 days, she went from unknown to a household name in her own country. And that's where the harder part of the story actually starts. Because a breakout week doesn't just make you famous. It changes what counts as failure. Before Miami, a second-round loss was Tuesday. Nobody blinked. After Miami, every match came with a question attached. Was that real? Or did she just catch 2 players on a bad day? In that Miami semi-final, the one that made her, there's a detail almost nobody repeats. She lost it. Dropped the first set to Jessica Pegula in a tiebreak. Won the second. And with the entire Philippines watching at 4 in the morning, lost the third 6-3. Hold on to that. It matters more than it looks like it does right now. Because the real question isn't what a great week does to a 20-year-old. It's what happens when the great week ends 1 match short of the door. 3 months later, on grass at Eastbourne, she reached her first WTA Tour final. Lost that too. 2 doors, 3 months apart. Both times her hand actually on the handle. Both times it closed. She finished last season ranked 50th. Genuinely excellent, a massive jump. But look at the shape of that year. She was becoming very good at getting close. And there's a real difference between a player who can beat anyone on a good day and a player who can win a tournament. Beating someone once is a performance. Winning 7 matches in a row, through fatigue, through nerves, through a body that hurts by day 5, is an entirely different job. There was a version of this story where Alex Eala becomes a familiar type. The dangerous floater, the name nobody wants in their section of the draw. Good for a top 10 scalp twice a year, hovering around 35th for a decade, never actually winning anything. Tennis has plenty of those players. Stack onto that the thing that makes her case harder than most. She's left-handed and not physically imposing, and she doesn't have the one tool that papers over a bad day at this level: a big serve. Look at how Osaka built 4 majors, how the power players on tour survive rough afternoons. Free points, easy holds, a shortcut when the rhythm disappears. Eala doesn't have that button, which means on the days her timing is half a beat off, there's no escape hatch. She has to solve the entire match from scratch, every single game. By this summer, that was the honest read on her. Enormous talent, beautiful hands, and a very specific structural reason to think she might stall out exactly where she was standing. 2 finals worth of scar tissue. A whole country watching every point. A ranking that had stopped climbing. Which is why what happened over the next 8 weeks doesn't read like a hot streak. It reads like something else entirely. And here's the part almost nobody covered, because the actual turning point wasn't Saturday night against Osaka. It happened 6 weeks earlier, on a grass court in Birmingham, in front of maybe 4,000 people, at a tournament most fans couldn't name. She won it. Her first title of the year. On its own, a nice week. But watch what it unlocked. The very next stop, Berlin. She beats Elena Rybakina, a Wimbledon champion, then beats Alina Svitolina, the world number 10, 6-3, 6-4, in the semi-final. Then Wimbledon itself, round of 16, the first Filipino player in the Open era to reach the second week of a Grand Slam. The president of the Philippines issued her a formal citation for it. A tennis result became a matter of national record. Now slow down here, because there's a detail buried in that Berlin week that changes how you have to read everything that came after it. And when I first saw it, I checked the scoreline twice. In Berlin, in June, she beat Svitolina 6-3, 6-4. 6 weeks later, in Washington, on a completely different surface, in completely different conditions, she beats Svitolina again. 6-3, 6-4. The identical score, twice, against a top 10 player with a full coaching staff. And 6 weeks to prepare a rematch. That isn't a hot day. You don't accidentally reproduce that score line against a player of that caliber on 2 different surfaces. That's a solution. So throw out the assumption every headline is handing you right now. That Alex Eala is a shot maker on a magic run, riding crowd energy toward the inevitable moment. It ends the way these runs always end. Watch the Osaka match again with the Svitolina scoreline sitting in your head, and it looks like a different match entirely. 4 games apiece in the first set, Osaka serving, and she loses the first 3 points. 3 break points for Eala, a chance to serve out the set. Osaka, a 4-time major champion, saves all 3, wins 3 straight points from nothing. This is exactly the moment where a run like this is supposed to end, because this is what great champions do to young players who haven't been here before. They make you win it 4 separate times. 2 points later, Osaka nets a forehand. Eala breaks, then holds serve at love, not scraping through 3 deuces with shaking hands. At love, for points, no reply. Set over in 38 minutes. Second set. Osaka double faults away the opening game. Eala holds at love again. 2 consecutive love holds at the 2 most pressurized moments of the match, from the player who supposedly has no serve to hide behind. That isn't luck. That's a player who had already decided what she was going to do before she walked out there. And while all of that was happening on the court, something else was happening in the stands that wasn't decoration. American press this week started calling it Eala Mania. The flags, the chanting in a sport that asks its crowds to stay silent between points. Osaka comparing the noise to something out of basketball. Because the player with no big serve, no shortcut, does have won. It's just not something a radar gun measures. And Osaka wasn't even the biggest test that week. She was the 4th name on the list. Round 1. Zheng Qinwen, a former world number 4 and Olympic gold medalist. Eala lost the first set 6-4. The old story writing itself. Big name opponent, slow start, gone in 90 minutes. Instead, she won the second set 6-4. then closed the decider 6-1 against an Olympic champion. The player who supposedly has no answer when a match goes wrong went into a third set and got stronger. Round 2. Leylah Fernandez, the tournament's defending champion, 7th seed, a US Open finalist, gone, 6-2, 7-6. Quarter-final, Svitolina, the score you already know. Semi-final, Osaka, 6-4, 6-2. 3 seeded players eliminated in a single week, a Grand Slam champion and a defending champion, both gone. Here's the number that turns this from a good week into an argument. 6 wins over top 10 opponents in 2026 alone. Across her whole career, she's now played 12 matches against top 10 players and won 8 of them. Floaters don't win 2/3 of their matches against the best players alive. Floaters win 1 in 5, and everyone calls it a shock. For Eala, beating a top 10 player is starting to look like the expected outcome, and losing to one is the surprise. And here's the piece almost nobody said out loud this week. Go back to the Svitolina quarterfinal and look at where the match was actually decided. Eala won 24 points on return, Svitolina won 13. Remember the problem: no big serve, no free points, no way to paper over a rough day. Here's what she did with that problem instead of solving it. She inverted it. She doesn't win by protecting her own service games. She wins by making yours unbearable. A left-handed serve spins the opposite direction from almost everything the tour practices against, and her return position turns aggressive the moment she smells a second serve. That's why Osaka lost her serve at 4-all in the first set, and again in the opening game of the second. That's why Svitolina held a break in hand in the second set in Washington, and then lost 5 of the next 6 games. The opponent's serve, supposed to be the safest game on the court, becomes the place the match quietly slips away from them. That's the system. That's why Berlin and Washington produced the exact same scoreline 6 weeks, and 1 surface apart. It wasn't luck repeating itself. It was the same answer, applied twice, which brings the story back to where it started. She doesn't beat a 4-time major champion by out-hitting her. She does it by refusing to let her serve. She came into Washington ranked 28th, already the highest any Filipino player has ever climbed. She's now at 25 in the live rankings, top 25 for the first time in her life, and the first time for her country. When they told her about it in an interview minutes after beating Svitolina, she just stared for a second before saying it sounded surreal, that it sounded almost crazy, but that she was proud of it. 25 in the world, 2 years removed from 143. And she isn't finished, because there's 1 match left, and the person waiting on the other side of the net is exactly who you should have seen coming. In Miami last year, Jessica Pegula was the one who ended Eala's breakout run in 3 sets, closing the door with Eala leading in the second. On Sunday, in Washington, they meet again. Pegula, world number 3, top seed, back in this tournament's final for the first time since she won it in 2019, 22 wins against 4 losses on hard courts this season. Eala, ranked 25th, playing for the first WTA title of her career, with a debut inside the world's top 20 waiting if she wins. Same 2 players, same stage of the story, except this time Eala arrives having already beaten an Olympic champion, a defending champion, a world number 10, and a 4-time major winner just to get here. Here's what Pegula said about her this week, and it might be the most honest thing said in tennis all summer: that it's going to be a battle, that she's a big fan of Alex, and then, she is the future of the tour, and she's already here. Read that last part again. Not arriving, already here. And here's what makes this bigger than one final. Ticket sales rose the moment her name went on the entry list. Rock Creek Park sold out twice for a player ranked outside the top 25. Naomi Osaka, who has played in front of every crowd on the planet, couldn't find better words for it than a basketball game. Alex Eala isn't just climbing a ranking table. She's pulling an audience into this sport that was never in it before, and there's no marketing department on earth that can manufacture that from nothing. Someone asked her recently what it feels like to be loved like this, and she pushed back on the question itself. She said it should be asked differently. She said this is what it feels like to be Filipino. So that's where it sits. A 21-year-old who got on a plane alone as a teenager, from a country with no map for this, no one who had done it first, is 1 match away from a title that would have been unthinkable from where she was standing 2 summers ago. I don't know how Sunday goes. Pegula is brutal on hard courts, and Eala has now spent more time on court this week than anyone else in the draw. and fatigue doesn't announce itself until it's already decided the match. But the real question was never whether she becomes a top 20 player. She will. The question is whether top 20 was ever the right ceiling to be talking about in the first place.